Bushiroad.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Bushiroad Championship Finals. Um, and we just came back from Swiss round number 1.
Yep, so we just had a game of Avatar versus quintuplets, where we just got to see Avatar finish off an opponent from level 2. So good show of Avatar there.
Yeah, it's kind of normal for Avatar to try and finish from level 2, but
Yeah, I think that's the aim.
doesn't always end up working out. And
Yeah.
sometimes they just end up like dying from that
Yeah,
point.
kind of
So-
just like puts yourself in a stranglehold and like opens yourself up.
Mhm.
It does happen, but fortunately for Shiki in that game, he was able to win off the Azula combo. So
Yeah, it was a very fast game. I was very surprised actually.
4 or 5 turns
Mhm.
each way. Usually, I think a game is like 6.
Yeah, it tends to be like 6 or 7 turns.
Yeah.
So very explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually played a couple of games with Avatar myself.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to see him pilot it. It's like his last turn, he actually used all of his cards in his hand, all of his stock,
Yeah.
and I tend to not go too all in, but I think it's definitely correct to just all in when you know that it's gonna be the last turn, right?
Yeah, if you can maximize your resources in that way, like every card used
Mhm.
that gets you closer to winning the game is definitely much better use than sitting in your hand or something, because you don't score extra points for that. So
Yeah, you can't keep those cards for next
Yeah.
game. So.
unfortunately.
So we're going to be heading into round 2 soon.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's alright. So yeah, we're still waiting on the round 2 matchups, but I think things are progressing quite well, so it won't be too long away. But yeah, I guess we just saw quintuplets, specifically the Itsuki build versus Avatar. But are there any like we already talked about like what decks we want to see, but are there any other specific say matchups that you want to see?
Matchups, you
Yeah.
say? I kind of would like to see something like Avatar versus Gura. I've been playing that matchup quite a lot in my locals.
Yeah, yeah, both
and
very finish-oriented decks.
Yeah, and I kind of want to see like the best players in the world kind of try and
Right,
try and finish each other before they other can.
yeah, kind of at each other's throat, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. I myself actually quite interested in slime mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if this is like probably not very popular opinion, but because I think slime does somewhat struggle to like answer the board in the mirror or anything.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how players will sort of deal with that sort of situation.
Mhm.
Does it end up just being a stalemate and people side forever? Does someone find an option to break through? Yeah, I'm really curious like what sort of answers people came up with for this tournament. So that is something I'm looking forward to. But I guess we kind of came up with different sort of like expected or anticipated matchups with this one.
Yeah,
and
for
they
sure.
both seem quite equally likely. So
It does sound very funny to see like people constantly side attacking with
Yeah.
Endurance.
yeah, if you're on can't deal with your opponent's board, can't get out of counter range.
Yeah, and at some point you both just have like 26 stock.
Yeah.
I don't
You're-
think it usually comes to that point. but-
Yeah, and then you're both like holding or looking for your stock swap and thinking like, do I do it now? If I do it now, if I don't end the game, do I lose on the swing back? And
Mhm.
yeah, there's yeah, like it's just like looking for the point to just strike. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very proficient slime player myself. I know what the deck does, but
Mhm.
I would very much like to see how people would deal with that sort of situation.
Yeah, I've been in that seat like in the past when playing Tokyo Revengers versus Slime.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
like, oh,
yeah.
I have 25 stock. Oh, they're in my grave now, and now my deck becomes my stock. Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Not the best situation to be in.
So yeah, those are definitely another thing I guess for slime there is that because you get your resources when you play the climax.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to attack. You can try and you can keep your opponent from going high on damage, so you can stop. You can camp them at level 2 so they can't drop their finishes if you want.
Mhm.
But then if your opponent's also on that, then it turns into whoever's on the higher clock and becomes like a weird random mouse game. So then if you're on the higher clock anyway, you just start attacking.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you're on the lower clock anyway, you just start attacking in hopes of that, like, you'll tank your opponent's attacks and then such and such. So I think reads are also a pretty big one there. And incidentally, I think the matchup you brought up also would sort of be in that ballpark. Like, both players want to hit level 3 first to try and hit their opponent's probably not as compressed deck. compared to other matchups. But when both people are on the in on that one, they'll try to like camp damage, and then they can't hit level 3 themselves, and they're trying to like accelerate even though they can't get stock, or they'll play over their own cards and hit themselves, and a bunch of other things. So yeah, I think those sorts of games might be pretty interesting to see on screen.
Surprisingly, I always end up trying to be like the control, like just
Yeah.
constantly healing down and trying not to die.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once they filled their finisher to counter attack from that point on,
Mhm.
sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I'm not too sure what the correct approach is.
Yeah,
It's
it's hard to-
always game dependent, of course.
Mhm. And one thing that's often different in tournaments from regular, like just casual gameplay is because there's time rules, like you actually do have to try and finish your game in time, which means that even if a play that might be the objectively correct play in an unlimited time setting is not what you can actually, is not what's going to win you the game here. Like you have to actually try and go for game against the odds, just because if you don't do that, you're going to lose the time.
Yeah.
As a thing. So yeah, I think a lot of practice would have had to go into those matchups for the players playing these decks.
Yeah, I enjoy playing Saikano a lot, but I also noticed that if you play Saikano, you'll pretty much always hit the overtime.
Yeah.
It's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. I think playing to time is just it's gonna be a thing, especially because I believe for next season in Springfest, the time rules have changed a little bit, and yeah, I think you get hit with a double loss if you hit time and there's no extra time, extra turns. There has been a 5-minute extension though, so if you guys are watching and prepping for Springfest, I do highly suggest just pushing out some practice games and making sure that you do finish your games and play out your turns in a timely manner. Otherwise, it sucks for everyone when you get hit with a double loss. So
I always try to test a little bit with timers on.
yeah,
Just in case, like sometimes we just take a little bit too long during
Yeah.
our games, especially in practice games. I really like taking my time and like thinking through my turns. But in tournaments, you really have to pay attention to it. And as we saw with Shiki and Roy just now, they were playing at very high pace.
yeah, they definitely were. And I think you'll see that a lot with like more experienced players. Because they play a lot of practice games, and oftentimes, like you said, they'll spend a lot of time in their practice games to assess different options. They might even rewind. They might show their hand to the opponent and say, "Hey, what do you think I should do in this situation?" But all that experience adds up, and when you go into a tournament game and you recognize what you have to do, you'll just like be able to snap your fingers and say, "Hey, I've seen this before. I know what to do," and you don't have to waste time thinking about things that you already know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think what you said really does pay off. Like, just spending time when you're allowed to is it's a good one.
But especially in tournament games, it's always hard because you don't actually know what your opponent's playing, right?
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's in practice games. Oftentimes, you
just
know,
get used to it.
Yeah, like 50 for 50, or even if you don't, you have like general gist what kind of cards your opponent plays, what kind of player they are. But then, in a tournament, you're like, well, I've never seen this person before. Like, he lives on the other side of the globe. Like, what am I meant to do?
They might play the same deck, but they might just choose to play different tech options. They might have like a random sack counter or something that will suddenly destroy your entire game plan.
Yeah.
Just gotta pay attention to those details.
I think there's been a situation. There was a time before where I just expected every ReZero player around me to play just one, maybe two anti-change counters, but then like I think there were a few players who were playing a third one, and I fortunately didn't have to walk into that, but I think I've seen a few people just see two anti-change counters out and then get hit with the third one, and like it really messed them up. So that kind of thing definitely does happen when you play against people who aren't part of your like immediate locals play group, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I think last time that happened, I also had some friends. I guess the next game is already done, ready to go.
Yeah, we can hop into the next one and see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and on our left we see 2one2ded playing the quintessential quintuplets versus Kokuren playing Adventure Time. Once again, Quints, who knows? It's probably Nino
based on the sleeves. It's Nino.
again.
I think 2one2ded I've seen his social media post. He's been going around buying Nino foils. I believe it's also the deck that he used to win BCS Mexico this year. So yeah, yeah, it looks like the Quintuplets players are being pretty honest with their sleeves this year. Kokuren playing Adventure Time.
And he's playing the choice top end, which is generally the play for Adventure Time.
Yeah.
For the level 1 combo, usually it switches a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen Duel, I've
sure
seen Choice, I've been Standby. It could really be anything.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out, but that's a turn 1 attack with
the Wildberry Princess,
yeah,
I think.
the Wildberry Princess. I believe it's a level 0 reverser, which can also pay 1, discard 1, and go to memory when it's reversed to search for another character.
Yeah, it's a very strong card. I've been using that card a lot. I've been like stacking them up in my memory a couple of times.
Yeah, it trades well with anything, and then it sets up for your next turn, and you get more memory. It does a bit of everything. I think it's a bit fortunate, I guess, with 2one2ded that he has a 500 power character, which is usually not used for fighting stuff, but fortunately here it actually has a use of trading 1-to-1.
Yeah, I can just trade 1 for 1 here.
Yep. And 2one2ded plays the blue level 0 Nino from the movie sets to clock a card from hand, search for a level 1 combo. And he's also got 1 in the waiting room, so I think he's going to be ready to stand by that out if he triggers 1.
Yeah, I assume so. I think he just discarded it, so it should all be pretty good over here.
Yep. Alright, after that shuffle, I think we'll probably be able to get a flash of his hand. But in the meantime,
I wonder what kind of combo Adventure Time will be playing, because I've been trying the trial deck combo a couple of times.
Yeah, the
just,
level 1.
check for
yeah.
at hand. It's okay.
Yeah, it does give you the deck speed that you sometimes want.
I think there was also... Oh, and we're seeing a standby over here. Getting the 1-1 to front.
Yep, so I assume that 2one2ded thinks that Kokuren's probably not going to hit level 1 this turn, which means that 6k is a pretty nice wall. Oh, and he sees a standby and a level 0 and immediately brings out that level 0, which is, I think, the only target. So
yeah, it seems
nice
like it. Unfortunately, he didn't have another level 1 engrave, but... Yeah. It's a brainstorm. You can't complain, right?
Yeah. Actually, it's also quite nice that it's a brainstorm because it means he can pay that once. He can pay 1 stock and then play the level 1 that he added to his hand last time.
Oh, right.
So it pays out the climax that he triggered while setting up. It does look like Kokuren is going to hit level 1 there.
Yeah. So I think we might see the combo next turn, and it's a standby list actually.
Okay.
So.
So that level 1 standby combo has the ability where up to 3 times per turn when a character enters your stage from the waiting room, it gets 1,000 power. So I think starting on 4,500, with 1 instance, a combo goes to 5-5, and every climax you trigger after that will go up to 7-5. And then when it attacks with a combo, you can use what is called colloquially a twin drive effect. So you can pay 1 to check 2 triggers instead of 1.
So you can find another standby with that.
And against previous builds of quintuplets, namely the one that was popular 1 year ago at BCS 2022 World Finals, that deck used to play level 1s, which either 7-5 or don't get reversed against cost 0s. But against this version, the level 1 combo in the new quintuplets is only 6,000 power on defense. Sorry, it might be 6,500 power on defense.
So we won't be able to kill this 1-1.
But on following turns, 2one2ded may have to keep comboing to maintain his hand size because he can't necessarily depend on his level 1 surviving as much as you could in the previous builds. Anyhow, yeah, so Kokuren has prioritized sending another princess to memory here instead of answering a level 1, which...
I think the 1-1 was just too strong.
Yeah, he has to get another standby here in order to guarantee it. So
yeah,
I think on a future turn maybe he will have to worry about it, but not this one.
I guess he could have gambled on it.
Yeah.
But getting a good memory compression set up for free.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
There is, I think the other option was you can take the middle, and he could have put the level 1 in front of the his level 1 in front of 2one2ded's level 1. And then if he triggered a standby on one of the earlier attacks, then he can choose the front. Otherwise, he can side it, and it's probably not the end of the world. But I don't think this is a clear right play here, so
Yeah.
it's done what it's done, and 2one2ded on 1-1 with 2 colors, which he probably won't need that blue until level 3 anyway, but it's nice that he has it.
Do you know if he's playing multiple standby combos or just a single, just a 1-1? Because some of them play like the standby that standbys the 2-2 Nino out as well.
Right. Taking a quick glance, he is actually playing 4 copies in terms of the climax of the level 1 combo, which is out right now. One of the level 2, which can come out, which can send its associated climax to the waiting room if it comes out of it to stand itself, and then 3 of the level 3 combo for a 4-1-3 split.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
4-1-3.
it effectively gives him 5 climaxes which can be used at level 1, which I think is quite nice. It adds a little bit of consistency. Although on the other hand, it does mean that his level 3 Nino has become standbys a little bit less often, but honestly, I don't think that is... It's nice, but that's not usually a big plan of the deck, at least not in the mid game. And by the end game, you should have one of the 3 anyway, so that's probably for the better. And I do quite like the 4-1-3 split when you have 3 climaxes, much more than the somewhat common 3-3-2, I think, that we've seen across the season.
Oh, and we see a level 2 hit the front row already.
Yep. So that is the Takoyaki faction Nino Nakano. It's a 226k, which gets 2,500 for each character in your own backstage. In your center stage, sorry. And when it attacks, you can look at the top 2 cards, keep up to one of them, and put the rest into the waiting room. So right now with a full front row, it's going to be 11k, and Kokuren could contest that next turn with his own 2-2, but it would require him to find a way to pump his 2-2 by 500 or more power.
Yeah, but he's already level 2 right now, so he can actually stand by and assist out maybe?
Yeah.
And that would be pretty devastating for a Nino player, right? Because the level 2 assist can actually give memory kick to the card in front.
Yeah, it does have the ability. Gives 2,000 power on the memory kick, so 2one2ded will not be able to play like a standby beater kind of play game where you just attack over your opponent's characters, then hand on call back. And looks like, but based on the position, he's
getting a finisher?
He's letting the 2-2 just live, and he looks like he was getting the finisher, but just checking his waiting room again to decide what comes up.
It does seem like he actually leveled 2 of these assists.
Yeah,
so
okay, that's interesting, because as far as I know, I don't think this deck needs experience.
No,
6
it does.
most of the time.
The finisher needs experience 5, I think. Or was it 6?
It was 4?
Oh, only 4.
Yeah, so... and both cards being red also was a little unexpected.
It's interesting. I wonder if there's any other experience cards that it needs?
Not
too
it
sure,
doesn't
actually.
seem like it.
Okay.
Oh. But anyhow, it looks like every front row standby that 2one2ded has done this game has paid off for him, so he clearly knows what he's doing here.
And it also seems like he has a very, very high rarity deck, by the way.
Yeah.
All the SP bubblegums, and not easy to get at the moment.
Yeah, really not.
Also the brainstorm. I've been trying to get those a couple of times, but it's like a little bit expensive nowadays.
Okay.
But yeah.
So 2one2ded has encored a one of his level 1 combos, discarding the 1-1 in the a copy of the 1-1 that's in the back row. He has also hit level 2 in the first deck, but fortunately due to his level 2 being uncontested and the level 1 also being encored, he's definitely not starved on resources.
It seems like 2one2ded has only 3 climaxes out so far.
Yeah,
so
and he's just drawn 1 copy of his level 3 combo, so once that gets rolling, he should be able to... Oh, yep, hits 1 more.
Now he's at 5.
Yep.
And it does seem like a pretty fast game once again. Both players at level 2 before the first refresh. It does seem like Kokuren is slowly hitting his second deck.
Yep. So Kokuren probably will refresh this turn, and 2one2ded has salvaged a level 3 Nino early play, whose early play condition is that the opponent has a level 3 on their stage.
Ooh.
He's going to be able to capitalize on that this turn, as Kokuren did stand by out a copy of his level 3 combo, and it's actually a really good spot for 2one2ded, because oftentimes you have to play that card out when your opponent has a level 3 in the front row, but this time you can just play it out and swing with it direct if he likes, so...
It's always interesting to hit level 2 early in a standby deck. Sometimes it just feels like it's, in a way, better.
Yeah, the power spike from 2 to 3, although you don't technically save that much stock, I guess, compared to level 1, the cards you bring out are significantly more powerful, so yeah, especially in standby matchups, where both players are playing some number of standby. I think being on the lower level can let your opponent just snowball out of control in terms of their board. So I think both once Kokuren hit level 2, 2one2ded was probably also pretty happy with hitting level 2 here. Alright, so the top part of his deck is that level 3 Nino. That means that if 2one2ded chooses to play the standby in his hand, he can turn that into a standby as well. But being the top card of his deck, I don't really think he wants to turn that into a standby either. It might be just preferable to keep the...
I think he might also still have the second ability of this Nino available to draw that card, but I'm not too sure actually.
Yeah.
Or it seems like at least he's not opting to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Plays it in the back row, okay.
Okay.
Alright, heals down, pays out a card.
It's a little bit unfortunate that he doesn't have any spots available for another standby trigger.
Yeah, although I don't think he's going to miss that level 0, honestly.
You don't care about it too much. And you know your first trigger isn't a standby, I guess.
Wait, that's an interesting decision. He's chosen to move the level 1 combo to the back row and move the level 1 Great Love Nino to the front. Which, I guess the Great Love doesn't have to be in the back row to use his abilities. What it does is that it gives power when you trigger a climax, and it gives all of your Ninos the ability to top check 2 when it attacks. But yeah, I guess even though you're not going to combo, you can still you still might find a use for that card next turn. You can hand on call the 1/1 if need be. So already does stand by, and so he chooses to replace the 1/1, which feels a little bit wasteful because he did hand on call that last turn.
Yeah, that's true. But that's all based on information that you didn't have at that point.
Yeah,
right?
that is true.
So,
but yeah, he is starting to get ready for that level 3. Although I think he will probably need to find the climax again.
yeah,
Look at top 2. Oh, that's another card that can become a standby.
that's a lot of standby triggers. Holy!
And then he
and he
checks
gets
top 2 again.
double check, yeah.
Yep, because he's given another instance of the ability to it.
Thanks to the Great Love Nino.
Yep. And then, alright, so he brings out the level 3 Nino. Its name is someone who will fall for you, Nino Nakano. If it's in the center stage, that is the front row, all of your characters gain 1,500 power. And when you play a standby, you can look at top 2 and rearrange them, and then one of your characters gets the aforementioned top check 2 keep 1 ability. So I highly doubt that 2one2ded's front row will be dealt with for probably the rest of the game, really. Yeah,
It's going to be very hard to remove this board.
yeah. Although fortunately, Kokuren did cancel quite a
He
decent
canceled all
bit
of
there.
it.
Yeah, so he could choose to play the rest of the game through damage, and enough lands. Kokuren can use the level 3 Finn and Jake to end the game. And due to the restriction, Nino can no longer play the level 2 event to reduce soul, and its best defensive option is Soft Gaze Ichikanakano, which you can pay 1 and pay an additional 1 and sack a character when you use the backup text to reduce the soul of one of your opponent's characters by 1. So it lets you make both a direct attack and a reduced soul to kind of mess up your opponent's numbers a little bit. So yeah, he can't do an entire attack's worth of damage reduction anymore, but he can mess up the numbers. So he can defend if Kokuren decides to go for the damage game plan.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the finisher of Adventure Time isn't on reverse, so it's not that effective into this matchup.
Oh,
But it can help out a
alright.
little
So
bit.
Kokuren is using,
Ooh.
I believe it is called the Demon Blood Sword. Demon Blood Sword, yep. It is a 2-1 event, and it allows you to send one of your characters to the waiting room, and if you do, you choose 2 of your opponent's characters and return them to the hand. So it looks like 2one2ded's board is getting dismantled, I guess.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't completely lose the cards, but he did use a bit of stock in the early game, so playing both of them back down is probably a bit too costly.
Yeah, very often it's just you can't even use those cards in your hand. It's like 2/2s that you don't actually want to be playing out.
Pretty much.
In this case, it was like 2 level 3s, I think, which is okay.
Yeah, it's not the but I don't think it. I don't think the level 3 that gives 1,500 power is a card you want a hard play from your hand ever.
Yeah.
So most likely it's going to be used as a cost for the level 3 combo when it gets to that turn.
Yeah, or maybe like a discard with the level 0 Nino.
Yeah.
It's Nino has a couple of ways to discard, so it's gonna be okay probably. But at least it opened up some lanes, so he will be swinging for a little bit more soul this turn, and hopefully set up for his finisher turn next turn.
Yeah. So
although it
this
doesn't
is
seem
very
like
much
he has a lot of stock.
this is very much like a damage oriented game. Alright, so with 4 characters on the stage, Kokuren has played out the level 3 Jake.
And
To look at the top 5 cards of his deck as he has 5 characters.
instantly grabbing his finisher climax already.
Yep. So he's setting up for that.
Yep.
He's used the ability of the level 0 Beamer, and as he's at level 2, he has paid the cost of sending the card to stock, but he chooses not to play out the associated card from his hand. But that means he gets to end this turn with at least 5 stock, possibly more if he triggers a choice. Alright, so quick left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I think it was 6 climaxes going back.
5, 6. Yep.
Yeah, looks like 6, and he's cancelled on the bottom. Slightly unfortunate for 2one2ded. It would have been an additional climax going back if it was the first card instead of the second, but cancel is still cancel, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, and can never complain about cancels.
Yeah, so, but I think with the use of the Demon Blood Sword, and as well as sending the Beamer to stock, Kokuren's hand size is, what's that, 2 or 3 cards? It's not a lot.
Not too big,
And
no.
yeah, with no Brainstorm to just kind of like cross your fingers and hope you hit a bunch, he has sort of put himself on a clock based on the fact that his hand size most likely won't last past another maybe 2 turns. Oh, there's a standby?
He did trigger a standby, so that means that he's all ready for double finisher, I think?
Yep,
Yeah,
he
it
does
should
have
be.
enough resources for double finish next turn. But with the cancel, 2one2ded is on 2-4, which means that I think it's still not quite in range for Finn and Jake to reliably end the game. So yeah, and due to the Finn and Jakes in the back row, 2one2ded is able to early play that Nino, heal down again, and he uses the burn text. Okay, so he uses the back row Nino's ability where you can pay 2 and rest it to make your opponent send the top, bottom 3 cards of their deck to the waiting room, and burn equal to the number of climaxes there. Commonly referred to as an Icy Tail or Michiru effect. However, this ability is only active if all of your characters have Ninos, so I think it's paid off that 2one2ded minimizes the number of non-Nino cards that he plays in his deck entirely.
Have we seen any non-Nino cards so far?
Yep, so there's the Ichika counter that he has in his hand. Sorry, in his deck. He also is playing a memory counter which has the Miku name instead. But I believe every other card in his deck that isn't a climax is a Nino character. So he really just doesn't need to worry about the condition of that unless he's super desperate. Oh, it's another standby on a full board, but fortunately there is level 0 in the front row, so he can just bring something else out there.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It seems like he does not have the climax prepared yet for his finishing turn. At 2-3, would you feel safe against this board of double Finn and Jake?
I would feel pretty safe, but his name is 2one2ded.
So did he just trigger 2 climaxes in a row?
Yeah. Oh, that might change things. when that starts happening, it sort of becomes a question of like whether you cancel the main swing or the ping one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Alright, so.
I think it should be fine.
Yeah, I think Kokuren being on, is that 2-5 or yeah, 2-5. I think he's also somewhat safe from Nino's lethal range as well, as long as he doesn't clock himself here or anything. He just needs to maintain a decent deck state. So he plays
is he going to
Jake's parents, whose
to get
names
back the bond? Oh yeah, he's going to
Joshua
return the Demon Bloodsword.
Yep. Returns the Demon Bloodsword, and he's going to use it to sack the level 0 and return 2 level 3s in the hand. Okay.
Okay. His hand size isn't looking too... Oh, he's going to finish.
He's going to push. Okay. So I suppose that if Kokuren doesn't end the game here, though, with only 3 stock and the current board state, he only actually has to worry about 1 combo flying his way next turn. So it's not too bad to go for it here, actually. Anyway.
Yeah, especially after the 2 climaxes being triggered over there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like 4 climaxes left in this deck.
Yeah.
That's a lot of potential damage you got there.
Trigger choice, which is not too bad. It means you can pay it out immediately using the level 3 combo anyway. Alright, so the full cancels. Okay,
but it does mean a cancel. Oh,
okay.
And this is also cancelled.
Yep, and then the 2 lands. That's pretty that's not bad.
He only has 2 climaxes left right now.
Yeah,
but he did.
But canceling the 4 there is the big part. Okay, this one lands.
Yeah. And we got to remember that there's still a potential Ichiga counter coming in. So the soul can be reduced on the last lane.
So there's going to be a burn too.
But it's over there in clock.
Oh no, okay. And then, but because I didn't cancel that,
this
no
swings for 2, and no
so
triggers.
That doesn't look like it's less than 3 cards. So 2one2ded will not hit level 4 from this swing, but as he is on quite a bit of damage, he does need to think about how he's going to play out the rest of the game. Oh, that is a...
Yeah, and Kokuren is only at 2-5, so...
Yeah.
With only 3 stock, you can only heal down to 3-5? Or maybe? Is there a heal to stock?
There is in the pool, but not in 2one2ded's deck, as he's opted to not play the level 3 Ichika early play heal.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to finish from here.
Yeah. And because 2one2ded's characters are so big, it's also not very feasible to just heal and put chump his board to try and cancel as much as possible on the direct attacks.
Yeah, especially with this compression, I don't think I would recommend that.
No.
There's only 2 climaxes left in deck, I think. So it's a very rough position to be in, and there's another climax.
Yeah. So he is able to add a climax to hand, which means that he can go for combo.
Can finish here, but he doesn't have any finishes on board yet.
Yeah, and there's just the, even if he does have multiple in hand, but he only has enough stock to play 1. So this turn he can swing at 3 level 2 soul characters.
Kokuren is all out of climaxes though right now. He has 7 engraved, 1 in his stock.
Yeah.
So that is 2 clean damage.
Yeah, so being on 2 and 5, but looking at a refresh, Kokuren effectively can only take 7 damage this turn. So if 2one2ded can land 8 damage, he wins the game. But I think a large part of it is going to be whether or not 2one2ded can land a 3 over the refresh into that current 2 guaranteed. And will he play the... Oh, he plays over a level... Okay, yep. So he played over his back row to play the level 0 Nino, whose ability allows him to shuffle back cards into his deck to pump soul or something, and when he plays a climax, he can return the level 0 to hand to give something 1000 power and the top check to keep 1 ability. And he's put back some
Nino finishers?
Which
just for standby trigger?
Yeah, so they become standby triggers, and they're also just an additional soul trigger, which he might need the additional reach for.
Oh, yeah. That does make sense.
Yeah. Alright,
is there anything good that he can stand by out that can actually help him in this situation to finish?
I don't think there is anything that he can bring out that would help him end the game this turn. So
or
the best
survive.
the best he can do is probably bring out something in hopes that he somehow survives the following one.
I guess there's cards that make you trigger or check more triggers to guarantee the soul trigger.
Yeah, I think the primary focus would be to just be able to trigger more soul triggers and top check 2 to manipulate soul in such a way that you can have the option of siding or even fronting for 4 if that is the reach you need. However, okay, so 2one2ded has decided to direct attack for 2 and take the guaranteed 2 damage, which means he needs to land, 6 more here. I think it might have been a little bit stronger to actually direct for 3 here, because if it landed there, he only needs to do 5, and 5 is one of these swings landing plus the burn 3, but I guess with the top check 2 abilities and such, he can more or less guarantee that he's going to swing for 3 and 3.
But he did end up triggering a standby over here.
Yep.
Maybe this will help out.
So yeah, that would actually. So this became a 3. So now he just needs to if he can land the burn 3 here, or he can turn the next front attack into a swing of 3. That should be good enough.
This is pretty dangerous. Will he cancel the 3?
And he canceled the 3.
Wow.
All right. So 200 had one more chance to swing here.
And he gets to dig for triggers twice, I think. Or only once.
I think it's just once from the 1/1, but I suppose he wouldn't have enough triggers.
Oh, yeah, it's just once. Oh, but he did put a trigger.
Oh, no, he does have a second instance, but he opted to send. Oh,
he's not going for a trigger?
He didn't go for the trigger. Okay, it didn't actually end up mattering, as the top card of Kokuren's deck was a standby, but that was interesting. He decided not to go for lethal and put the climax in the waiting room instead. I guess he decided that he wants to just refresh more and hopes that he cancels in the situation he does win.
Are there any counters that can help in this situation?
Well, I would have said earlier that it would be the Itcher counter, but
that's already in clock?
That's already in his clock, so I don't think there's anything that he can do to mitigate damage directly.
I think he's all out right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused on what's happening right now, but maybe I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But he's
if he cancels this one, we'll know it's 8. But no, that's guaranteed.
And it's all out.
Okay.
So
interesting.
So with the finisher softening up 2one2ded's board, or 2one2ded's life, I guess. I guess in the end he made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though 2one2ded's his stage was full of powerful characters, Kokuren was able to use the Demon Blood Sword to repeatedly bounce his staff. And I think with the use of cards like the back row Nino's effect, 2one2ded was a little bit short on the stock that he might have wanted to replay his characters. Yeah. Once he saw that he wasn't going to be able to win through the board for the rest of the game, at least conventionally, I think Kokuren made the right call in going for damage and just sort of working backwards from which turn is going to be your finisher turn.
Yeah, and getting disrupted is hard. Every time getting your level 3 combo finishers bounce back when you're expecting your finishers to stick on board.
Yeah.
It's very hard to anticipate that.
Yeah.
And I think, what's his name? Kokuren made a very good choice by bouncing it every time.
And it is hard to use cards like that, which reduce your own resources turn after turn. But
yeah, it seemed very scary.
Yeah, but he did really know how many turns he had left in the game, which turn he has to go for finisher, because he did go for a double combo turn on a turn, which very much looked like he wasn't going to win the game on the spot, but because of his resource management and how he saw that 2one2ded won't be able to replay his board, he could go for it there, and even if he doesn't end the game on the spot, he can still feasibly survive the next one. So a lot of good calls there, and I think it really paid off.
Yeah, it definitely paid off.
Yeah.
But with that, I guess we will be going into round 3 next.
Yeah.
And we'll have a break first.
Yep. So round 3 will be coming up after a short break. We'll see you guys soon.
Stay tuned.
Schwartz. Witness the strongest band together on the stage of Vi Schwartz. Ari Fureta, from commonplace to world's strongest.